welcome you all to this Helpful Village. Christina just took care of the muting of everybody in the room, just to reduce the background noise, but your participation is very much encouraged. So if you want to unmute yourself and ask questions during the presentation, you're welcome to do so. We have some stuff to do, so how about we get started right away? This is the agenda of today's meeting. There are some news. We'll be discussing release notes about improvements to the software, improvement ideas, and then I don't know, maybe we can have a discussion if we have questions or other things. So let's get into that. There is a number of news. The first news, some of you already know, is that Helpful Village has moved back to California. So the company was started in Berkeley, California, Northern California, where my wife was a postdoc researcher. Then she became a professor at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City. So we went there for about 4 years. And for the last 3 weeks or a month, we have moved back to California. We live now in San Diego, Southern California, where my wife is now a professor at the University of California, San Diego. So, you know, modern society, just the gentlemen following the ladies as they develop their professional careers. And I'm very happy to do so because, you know, obviously we're a web company and it's easy to put my computer in my backpack and move to a different city. And this is a beautiful city. So we're excited about this. Oh, sorry, there's one more reminder I want to say that. Well, obviously this is sharing the information that the move has happened, but also there are some implications. Obviously we have a new address that we will have, and we'll be sending the new address for the next invoices. So always the invoices go out the first few days of the month. So the next set of invoices that are going to be sent 1st of October will contain the new address where you can send your stuff. I'm still thinking if we do a PO box or if we do an address or something like that, but definitely you can send your messages to this new address. The old address still works kind of, and I'll redirect the mail, but obviously just easier if you use the new address. So sometimes if you're sending the checks yourself, well, please remember not to, to update the address. If you have a treasurer that does it, maybe you need to let them know that there will be a new address coming. The invoice that we're gonna be sending out will contain the new address where you can send your checks, and we will highlight in red also that there is a new address or something like that. But anyways, it just this administrative stuff. More news is that this is the time of the year where we are heading to the National Villages Gathering. This is the Village to Village Network National Conference that is taking place October 3rd and 4th. So it's in about 2 weeks. That's cool. And then there is an in-person conference that is taking place in Maryland in Silver Spring on October 17th. So I imagine that some of you are planning to attend the virtual meeting, and then some of you are going to the in-person meeting. If you're going to the in-person meeting, don't forget to come by, because I'm gonna come by and I will be there in person, and it would be a pleasure to meet with our friends in the Washington area, but also anyone else that is attending the conference. I'll be there. I'm presenting at the conference, I think. In both. And then I'll have meetings also. So if you want to talk to me or you have other questions, and in any case, you should come by and say hi if you're in the city or if you're attending the conference. So looking forward to meeting you in person if you're there. It's been a long time, but the conference is happening super soon. I need to say this kind of, I did this slide a little quick. It's kind of funny, but we are making an important announcement at the conference. We cannot do it now because we are actually doing some sort of partnership with a very large company that has very big fat lawyers, and they told me I am not allowed to say anything before they do. But we're very happy because we're going to be working with a very large brand in the aging space that is very well known in all 50 states. I may have hinted in the past that we were discussing with them. But because I'm not allowed to say it, I will not say it, but you will know it very soon. I will make the announcement on 3rd or 4th, and I think they're making their announcement a few days before. So this is going to happen, and I invite you to come to our presentation. I'll tell you more about what's going on in here. It's kind of funny, right? Now, suddenly the lawyers got involved. There's no images, there's no logos, there's black on white, and I cannot speak, which is weird to me. But it's a good news. This is a different topic. This is an email that I believe many of you may have received. It's an email from the Village to Village network. It's separate from the conference, but it's also connected with the conference. So basically, the network received a grant from PCORI, which is Patient-Centered Outcomes Research Institute, which is some sort of a federal funding mechanism for research. And there is a research project. If you receive this email, obviously you can read it, why I understand, but I also got questions from some of our villages. What did I think about this project? So I wanted to comment on that. So I would say that I am excited about the possibility to do research. As you know, I started the company in the University of California, Berkeley, where I was working with Professor Andy Sharlock that was doing research on villages. And I believe that if we do some research on villages, we will document in a scientific way that villages are a super efficient way to age healthy in your own home. So this is a good thing. I was involved in all the conversations with Rand and Rutgers and all the participants and V2V, etc. So I know what this is about. But obviously the scientific kind of representatives are taking the lead on that. They are doing a presentation during the V2V conference. I will be attending that presentation, and I invite you to do the same. It is obviously, there is a connection with a project we have discussed about in this meeting, right? We did a taxonomy project, which was a classification of services and members that we had started in Washington, D.C., in particular with Capitol Hill Village. If you remember that presentation and all the discussion we had about the taxonomy project, we took it to some point where thought it was needed to do a collaboration with V2V. So basically we started the project, but we handed it over to V2V for a national kind of extension of the project. And I think that these two things will connect, the taxonomy project and the research project that is being discussed here. I know there is some funding for participating villages. If your village wants to participate, there are a few meetings that are scheduled and stuff like that. You can participate in that, but I just wanted to let you know that I actually know these people. The person from Rutgers is actually a researcher that used to work with Andy Sharlock in Berkeley. So it's not a separate group. I mean, we know all these people and everything is gonna connect. Obviously, it's the beginning of the project, so there is a little bit of, coordination that is needed. But this meeting at the conference will be interesting. I'll be there too. And then one thing that I want to make sure we all do, and this was the sense of the question that I got from one of the villages, is about the privacy and the data. Obviously, if we're doing research, the researchers will be interested in having access to some data. But you can count on me to make sure that we protect the privacy of villagers, right? And then we do things in the right way. So the data that we have on Helpful Village is your data from your village. So we can only release data with your authorization, and then with a formal process, making sure that the data that we release is protective of your members. So basically, we don't need to provide the names and stuff like that. Let's not do the names or the details about the people. But if it's about, an aggregate numbers that doesn't hurt the privacy of your members, I'll be here and we can always discuss about different steps of this research project. So there will be a lot more conversation about this at the conference. I'm attending this. And then if you have other questions, we can always talk about this. But I wanted to let you know that I keep a close eye on this project. There is a website that they made, and you can go visit if you want to learn more about it, villagesresearch.org. Okay, that's for the news. This is reminders now. It's not July 19th, but basically there is the next Helpful Village webinar will be October 18th, which is kind of funny because I think I will be running it from Maryland because I'm traveling for the Silver Spring Conference in October 17th. I'm going to stay one extra day there, I guess. And then there is a V2V hosted webinar, Q&A webinar next week, September 27th at 2 p.m. There is a training docs guide, there is a help center, and there is a few other resources that are listed on this slide, but we don't need to mention all of them because you know them. And I think that we have another reminder of these slides here. First, I wanted to remind you that there is a help center where you can find all the documentation about Helpful Village. If you want to find it, you can go to support.helpfulvillage.com. And there you can either go through the boxes at the bottom that have kind of a table of contents of all the documents, or you can search on that bar, and that will basically give you an interactive result of your search. This is also the best way to submit your tickets. You can submit tickets actually by email if you email to support@helpfulvillage.com. But actually, this is better. If you do it on the Help Center, you go to support.helpfulvillage.com, and on the top right here, you hit submit a request. That allows you to go online and submit your request from the website. And it is better because it creates the ticket in the same way, but the system is trying to find an answer for you. So we invite you to do it this way. Just also a reminder that there are two different things you can get back to us. One is the Help Center for bugs and problems and issues. And then if you have a submit or improvement idea, is a different website, which is ask.helpfulvillage.com. Chris, there's stuff on the chat that I'm not reading, but if you need to, if you need me to answer stuff on the chat, you let me know.
I will. Okay.
Perfect. Okay, release notes. This is not the right dates because I forgot to update that, but basically this weekend we'll be uploading a new version of the software with the following monthly improvements that will be listed soon. Okay, sorry, my browser froze for a second. Here we go. Okay, first improvement of the month is that we have groups, right? If you go under admin, people management groups, you have all the groups there, mailing list, volunteer services, village builders. Now, all of those groups used to have a one page with a long list of everyone that is included in that list, right? But then this list, if it's only for your members, it was still manageable because it would be a few hundred people. But these groups were getting really big. In particular, but this group for events, right, which is a mailing list of everyone that is subscribed to your newsletter. We were having hundreds and thousands of people in this, so it was becoming a very, very long list. It would take forever, and actually we had a timeout because just could not open the group because there was so much people in this group, right? So what we did is that in this new version, we have a pagination of these members of the group. Pagination is kind of a complicated word to say that basically when you go to the exact same place to find the group, right? Like the events mailing list, for example, at the bottom of that page, you will have this, which is different pages. Now there is 160 pages of maybe 20 or 50 people, so I don't know the multiplication, but basically now the same page loads much faster because instead of displaying 4,000 people, 5,000 people, or 6,000 people, we're only displaying 50, and we give you the possibility to, search through, all these different pages if you need to look for someone in particular. So the list is still sorted in the same way as it was before, which I think is alphabetical order on the last name. So you can find your people in the same way as before, but this is just quicker, much faster, no timeouts. Kind of funny. What is this square right here? This is Chrome that is doing something. Okay. I think it's giving me a hard time to go from one slide to the other. This is rare. Okay, this is a different improvement that happens in the events module, right? So when you're creating a new event or editing a new event, there you can describe a location where the event is going to take place. In this location, we used to display the place name, the number, the street, and the city, and that's it. But one of the villages raised the question about adding also the state and zip code of that address. So that would be a more complete address. So we added two more fields. When you're creating or editing events, you now can add the state and address and zip code of this address. These two fields that are here, Florida and zip code, are also not only new fields for events, but they're also coming from the autocomplete of the addresses. So autocomplete is something that you can do when you come to the place name, right? You can have, for example, here, if it's a popular place for you, where you do a lot of events, let's say the village address or, community center, here, this Unity of Fort Myers, you can add this address to your preferred addresses, right? And then you don't need to type this every time, just start typing this, and the autocomplete in the website will allow you to, basically enter the rest of the address with the zip code, state, city, numbers, street, etc., all of that. So you want to create preferred addresses, you find that under admin settings, miscellaneous, actually. And the addresses that you enter there will auto-populate all these fields for the events management. There is another tiny improvement we did in the events page, is that here is the display of the where, right? So this is the view of the details of an event. It's an event that they're organizing, a Thrive Foundation exercise program. So we're displaying the when is this event taking place, and then where. And it's just a display change that we're doing, right? So as you can see now, we display the state and the zip code. But what we used to do before is that we were doing all of this in one single line. So we're saying Unity of Fort Myers, comma, and then number, street address. And, it was just not as pretty. So now what I'm saying here is like, now we have a next line after the name. So after this, right, it goes to the next line. So it's just more readable. There's a lot of words for something very simple. Just there's a carriage return after the name of the place you're attending. But I wanted to let you know about that. This is another improvement that we had announced on our last webinar, is that we had some villages that had archived their users. You need to be careful when archive, because some people archive users when they shouldn't. Because, for example, if you have a person that is no longer a member, should not archive. If you archive a user, you are losing all the events and services that were done for this user for your report. So you should only archive when this user should not have been created in the first place. That includes when you have a duplicate, or when it was a totally spammy user or something weird from a bot. But now the improvement we did this month is that when you go to the general tab, you can use this archive user link. That's how you archive somebody. You would notice that it's not a big fat button like we like doing, because it needs to be used carefully. But also, we will refuse to archive this user under some conditions. For example, if they're active monthly payments, or if there are event participations of this user, you will not be able to archive this user, which is because what happened is that people archive people that they didn't think they didn't want to archive. Actually, what happened is this village had a duplicate. They had 2 users, and then say, well, I'm going to archive one of them, and I'm going to put the information on some of it. But then the person archived the user, but they had not stopped the monthly payments. So basically, this person was being charged on a user that was archived they could not see. So basically, now what we do to avoid that is that the code will not allow you to archive a user if they have monthly payments activated, even not activated, or if you have event participation, because that's relevant data about that person. Now, if in case you have a duplicate, right, we invite you to clean that up, of course. And we have a tool that allows you to merge 2 different users. And in that merge tool that we offer you, you have the possibility to transfer information from the duplicate user, right, to the main user that you want to keep. So basically, the same thing that you have here, right? Like, if you still want to archive the duplicate, you can do it, but you can only do it once you have transferred all their event participations and monthly payments to the profile that you want to keep. And then basically, once the duplicate profile is kind of empty, right, well, then you can archive it. Okay, this one is urgent. Urgent for some people, not all people, but we have a Zoom module that is a premium feature that is optional, that allows you to create Zoom events from Helpful Village. This module also is very useful and adds more security, because it allows your users to have a unique link that allows them to register for Zoom events that you organize. This is a Zoom module that we had before, so it's not a new module, or there are no new functionalities, but Zoom has new requirements. Zoom had a set of keys. They used to have an authorization service that was using an older technology, and now they have a new requirement or new way to do this authentication of server to server, which is actually better because it allows to have a more fine-grained list of authorizations of what this other user or set of keys allows to do. So in the end, in Helpful Village, it's going to be the same functionality, but it's higher security. So I discussed with some villages that already reported this and already fixed this. So what you need to do is that you need to go onto Zoom, and then on Zoom, you need to do a few clicks and create a new set of keys, etc. And then produce those keys, send the keys to Helpful Village, who will install the keys, and then everyone will start working. If you don't do it, the Zoom module will stop working because basically Zoom is making this requirement where they need to have this new set of keys. So if your village has a Zoom module activated, please check. If you have not created a new set of keys, you really need to do it. At the bottom of this slide, right, you see this link. There is a support document that we created explaining how to set up the new server-to-server authorization method. So you can click on that link. Chris, maybe, well, okay, now I was thinking maybe I should copy it in the Zoom, in the chat for everyone to have, but you cannot do it, I think.
I will do it. I will do
You
it.
can do it? Can you copy it? I don't know if you can copy it. Well, yeah, maybe.
Yes, yes, I can. Don't
If
worry.
you can put it in the chat, would be great. So that is a step-by-step training document with the instructions, what you need to do. What we did before, we had 2 keys, but now we need 3 keys because, 3 is better than 2. It's a joke, cheap joke. But really, yeah, if you have not done it, really do this urgent. It's not for everybody. If you're not using the Zoom module, you don't need to do anything. If you're using the Zoom module, you really need to urgently do this if you want to make sure that things keep working. This is another fun one. This is great for me also when we have the third parties or other companies that are making modifications. So Zoom is making some modifications here. The text messaging provider that we use has new changes and modifications and guidelines. So there is nothing here that you need to do actually, because this is me. But basically there is new guidelines, there is this campaign vetting. So basically what happens is there is a lot of spam and a lot of scams that go out from mobile phones. Maybe I receive that all the time, right? People that Bitcoin, whatever, click on this link, you're going to be rich, whatever, and stuff like that. So that comes to me and obviously goes to all your members and everybody out there. So I don't know if it's government or it's just the telecommunication providers. They have come up with more rules to make sure that we stop all that, spam and scams that are out there. So they just put us through more hoops, basically, where we need to do a lot of paperwork with them, telling them what type of service are we offering, what's the typical type of message that we're sending. We need to conform to new rules about how people can subscribe and unsubscribe, accept, opt in, and stuff like that. So this is more just like information. Obviously, if the text messaging is also a premium module, if you're not using it, you're not concerned. If you're using it, there's not really that much that you need to do at this point, because basically Helpful Village is talking to this text messaging provider, and at this step of the process, we need to fill out all these forms giving examples of the type of messages we send and stuff like that, and basically being whitelisted so that your messages get delivered to your members. So, but just wanted to let you know, because this is kind of some extra work we need to do. And then it's kind of funny also, this is when you see that this is a telecom company, because this is the name of the standard, it's A2P10DLC. Great. Not very fun to do that. And that's all for the improvement that we had this month. These are more about current priorities and other things that we're doing. I know we're doing things. I know there is a report that I really like that was requested, is the member activity report. See the members that have, had interactions or little interactions with the village so that you can reactivate them. And we have a similar report that we do for volunteers, where you can see the volunteers that have not interacted with the village for a long time, so that you can, contact them and call them basically. And I think we should do the same with members. So that is a report we announced already last time. We have not coded it yet, but we will be doing that very soon. Okay, and then that's it, because that's all the slides that I had so far. I can go into demo. And then show you some of the things that of the improvements. So I can go, this is demo, people management. Here, groups. We have all these groups. And then if we look at this group, for example, of events, but it's actually all groups. I should choose any group in here. Now, when you choose this group, it's gonna open up. Oh, this is perfect, because this is before I did it, right? So this is what you have currently. Basically, you have the long list of all these people. That's why it took so long. And then I actually was working on this and I changed it on my computer, but I put it directly on this other village website. So now we have a pagination of this, and the pagination, I don't have it in demo here, but it's the exact same thing that you see in other places, like we do here. For example, when you see service requests at the end of this page, right? This is the pagination link. So you will have a shorter list of members of that group that loads quicker, and then you can go from one page to the other page. Yeah, so we see all these pages here. So we're on page 14, and then you can go to page 13, page before, and stuff like that.
Well,
Yes.
can we determine how many show up on that list?
So for now it's hard coded, right? But it's very easy. You can tell me what you think, right? So, and then we can change that number. I don't know if I did 50 or 20, but yeah, I mean, potentially if you think it's too much or too little, I can adjust that number.
Jimmy is proposing another idea, is to sort the order with different filters.
Yes. So we do a few things about that, right? One is that usually, I know we do this here in active members. Because active members is particularly interesting to do the sorting, right? So we're basically, you can sort here by full name, which is the default. Basically, is by last name here. So it's Abrams, account, Acevedo, etc. by default. And then here you can also sort by expiration date, which is also very interesting, because these are the people that are going to expire the soonest. So basically you see here that these two people are expiring in red, which is in the next month, I think, and this is maybe 2 months or something like that. So yeah, we can definitely sort. It's kind of stuff where we need to know where to sort. I mean, if we are talking about people management groups.
Manuel,
Yes.
our village is the one that you have updated the events list for, so it's been fantastic. Thank you very much. I just counted and it's 25 per page.
25, thank you. Yeah.
And I definitely would like to be able to sort by name, or even do a search for if somebody's on that list, because we get people emailing saying, hey, am I on your events list? And if their name is John Smith, we have to like scroll through looking for them.
No, it makes sense. So maybe I take that suggestion, right? So at this, I was looking at this, right? Well, if we go back into the events mailing list, do we want to sort this list? Well, sort, I don't know by what, because basically the sort that I was suggesting, I don't think sorting by address make any sense. I'm probably not going to do it, but definitely the search field, we can.
Or maybe if there was like all the A's on one page, like an alphabet rather than numbers or something. I don't know if that would work.
No, I mean, what I'm thinking is that we want to have something that is consistent, right, with other areas of the website. For example, if you go here to preferred vendors, you also have a list of stuff like that, but we'll have a search field like this, right, where you can do Acevedo or something like that. And this is helpful. And then you do search. I don't know if it's the best example, but basically you see what I'm saying. We'll do a search field like this. Another good example, in one field where we really do the search capabilities and to the most is here, where basically we have different possibilities to filter here on the top, right? You can choose the service request and only see the match ones. And then at the bottom of this list, you have other filtering options where you can say, okay, I want to see, you know, between this date and this other date, right? And then basically all this combination just gives you the results of that search in here. Now, if I put the search field up here or at the bottom, we will see, but definitely the possibility for you to see a very long list, like events that has, you know, 5,000 people and very quickly search in there, that makes a lot of sense. So that definitely goes into improvement for next month. So that is urgent.
Great, thank you.
Chris, can you please make a note of that improvement request for next month? That one we need to do very quickly. Great. Gary, I don't know, did you have a question? I don't remember.
No, you answered it.
Okay.
Although I do like the idea, excuse me, instead of doing page 1, 2, 3, 4, doing A to C, D to F.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. What does everybody think about that?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking about it in terms of code, right? Because the thing is, like, if we do yeah, what I mean is that with the pagination, the good thing is that I do one query, which is, okay, give me everyone in this group, right? And then just the query is just simple, because then say, okay, give me 10 or give me 25, like Leslie was saying, and then the next 25 and stuff like that. If we do by letters, I need to change the query. It makes it a lot more complicated for not much of a gain, I guess. But
Right.
But I can see the point, definitely. I mean, the phone does it, right? When you're looking at your contact list and stuff like that. But sometimes there are kind of improvements or changes that can be done and it costs nothing, right? In terms of code. And sometimes there are some others that are complicated for not much gain. This one is kind of pretty complicated, I would guess.
No, I understand.
Not much.
Thanks.
Cool. Absolutely. Great. So I don't know if there are other questions in the chat, Chris, that you want to highlight.
No, everything is covered.
Cool, perfect. So well then I don't think we necessarily need to extend the webinar beyond this if there are no other questions, because we're meeting next week for Q&A anyways. So what I would say is that if you have questions or things that you're wondering or things you want to discuss with the group, the best way to do this is to contact Gary, who's national coordinator. So you can send an email. I'm going to just go back here. No, where is his email? Here. So the email of Gary is hvusers@v2vnetwork.org. That email goes directly to Gary. And if you have any questions, you can submit them ahead of time. Gary usually coordinates with us very well. And then we can try to think about the best possible answers, and we'll answer all those questions for next week. You can send questions there. I've been working on some improvements on kind of web email templates and web templates and stuff like that. So if there are not that many questions next week, we'll discuss a little bit of website building too, to make sure you can do, your websites that are mobile friendly and stuff like that more easily.
And one of the questions that are coming up for next week is Manuel doesn't let us do everything in web design, like put JavaScripts and stuff like that. That's understandable. And but I want to know how some of the other villages get around some of that stuff, or if they use a whole separate web page and utilize Hopeful Village for their members, their events, their calendar, all of that stuff, and then utilize another service, another hosting to manage other things that they want to really play around and get into the website. So that's a question for next week. Yeah, we can discuss it next week. I would just say for now that we don't have a problem with JavaScript or any of that. We use JavaScript, for example, for the slideshow, right? Where you can have pages going by. So it's probably not with the technology. What we want to know, and we can definitely
open our ears to villages is that what do you want to do with that JavaScript, right? Because if you're going to tell us, well, we want to do JavaScript for anything that would be possible, that's a threat, right? For people stealing data, and you don't want us to be doing that. But if you're telling us, well, you know, this piece of JavaScript would allow me to do something that is pretty nice and cool and would be interesting, and you help us review it, we can add it. So it's not that we don't want to let you do it. It's just we don't just want to. I mean, sometimes in the past we have had cases where we have villages contacting us like, oh, we're thinking maybe, you know, someone hacked into the system. It's like, well, you know, if I want to sleep well and you want to sleep well, you want me to make sure, right, that there is no kind of obscure code that someone is adding somewhere that nobody has ever seen. So it's really for the good, you know, for a good cause, that just want to make sure that we keep your data safe. But we're open to suggestions and other JavaScript pieces of code and stuff like that.
Thanks, sir.
But we'll discuss some more about it next week. I wanted to thank you all for coming here, and I really look forward